Hello, it's Agnes here at ABK, and I want to thank you so very much for joining me for this week's introductory video. Now, this week I will be sharing some reflections on the problems with comparison, because as we set out to forge a new path and chase new goals, we will inevitably find ourselves in a situation where we are comparing our journey to that of someone else's. And this comparison can frequently lead us to a slippery slope that eventually ends with the abandonment of our goals. And while inspiration and comparison are very similar, they differ in some important respects. When we feel inspired by others, we are filled with a creative motivation to take action on our goals. This state of mind opens up new possibilities with a great energy that allows us to overcome hurdles as we encounter them along the way towards the realization of our goals. However, on the other hand, when we start comparing ourselves to others, we are often creating feelings of inadequacy and inferiority and envy. And this has been greatly amplified with the rise of social media, because what we are being presented about other people's lives is a perfectly curated image. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. What is often left out is the complete messiness of life. So the comparisons that we're creating are false in and of themselves. Remember that comparison is a thief of joy. It creates ever-shifting goalposts that we will never realize and undermining our own achievements along the way. This leads us to a lack of satisfaction. So it is so important that when we realize that we are comparing our journey to that of someone else's, that we end up shifting it to be far more positive and draw on the inspiration instead. There are a few things that can help us when we find ourselves in this comparison trap. Things such as practicing mindfulness. This means that when we find ourselves in a state of comparison, we acknowledge it and then just let it go. Now, practicing mindfulness takes a lot of practice, so don't worry if you don't quite have the handle of it yet. Another thing that can be really beneficial is gratitude journaling. This is a quick and easy practice which focuses on having gratitude for the things that you have in the here and now instead of dwelling upon that which you do not have. This ever so slight shift helps lift our moods to help us move forward. Another important technique to use is to compete against yourself, not others. When you set out and take action on your goals, measure yourself against the past versions of yourself so that you're constantly having a frame of reference that is realistic because you are the one that you're competing against. Another important practice is having healthy social media boundaries. Now, I always find it funny to be advocating for limiting social media use while also using social media platforms, but we do know that social media is often the source of the doom and gloom that comes about from comparison. So if we're acknowledging it and then have healthy practices with social media, it can limit the comparisons, and we can also tailor make our social media to be more inspirational to help us take action on our goals. Lastly, it is so important to be kind to yourself. This is simple things like eating healthy, moving your body, drinking water, getting enough sleep, and also taking breaks when necessary. Also, reach out to the people that are important to you when you find yourself in this state of comparison, because they can help shine the light upon you to see your own brightness. Now, if you're feeling a little inspired to take action on your goals, I encourage you to join along with me in one of my Work Together videos where together we will work on our goals and go on our own journeys together side by side. Let's do it for other 15 or 25 or even 45 minutes, because taking the little steps is so important towards the realization of our goals. Again, I want to thank you so very much for joining me. I so appreciate you, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye now.